Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about Battlefield 2042's next update, update 420 or 4.2.0. It's actually kind of funny, they announced this update on 420, so DICE, listen, we all saw that, okay? This update features some long-awaited things, such as the discarded rework, but it also features some well-deserved nerfs of some very annoying vehicles. Before we get into all that, I am most likely playing in a $20,000 tournament right now as you watch this video if you're watching on Saturday or Sunday. If you want to catch all of the action, I will be streaming it. First link in the description, follow my Twitch. The last $20,000 tournament came down to a best of 10 grand finals to the 10th map, so it was intense to say the least. If you enjoy the content and find it informative, hit the like button and, of course, subscribe to the channel. Let's just jump right into this update. So, like I mentioned, the discarded map rework is in this update. I think the discarded map rework is going to work much like the Manifest map rework in that it's not going to do much of anything, because to fix discarded, truly, you need to redesign the entire map. And just putting a bunch of crushed cars, sandbags, and assorted crates all around the map is really not going to do anything. I think it's going to be just like the Manifest rework, where it's just a gigantic waste of time. Aside from perhaps the layout changes, I'm interested to see what they do with the discarded layouts, some of the points, but in general, I really do feel like it's going to play relatively the same. I personally wish that they would have just left Discarded and Manifest alone and concentrated their map efforts towards perhaps working on an additional brand new map instead, but, you know, it's DICE, what are you going to do? Moving on to the patch notes themselves and the collection and customization improvements section, you can finally remove attachments from the plus menu. As it currently stands, you can only replace attachments in the plus menu, so if you, say, fill out an area to the full 3 attachment slots, but you don't really use the third one and you would like to remove it, you can now finally do that. On top of that change to the plus menu system, they also increased the legibility and they improved how the attachments are moved and swapped in and out of the plus menu system as well. This update brings some end-of-round improvements too. They introduced a new squad performance screen called the Personal Best screen. This screen essentially shows if you broke any records on your own account. Say your kill record is 50 and you got 52 kills, it would show that you beat your personal record. And this also works for other stats such as damage dealt, revives, and assists. Another end-of-round quality of life improvement is during the end-of-round screen, it is now actually possible to skip all the way to the main menu without leaving the automatic matchmaking. And in a huge change to some round-based game modes, any game that is round-based will actually have switching sides enabled. Moving on to a blanket change to Uniform Soldier aiming, this Uniform Soldier aiming setting has traditionally been set to off in Battlefield games, but for whatever reason in Battlefield 2042, they are now changing it so this setting is on by default. And the reasoning is that they thought that having Uniform Soldier aiming set to off by default would apparently help players learn how to aim, but upon further research, they found that having it on had a more positive effect. So I guess that's a big deal if you don't use Uniform Soldier aiming. Just be sure to turn it off next time you boot up the game after this update. I know some people are going to ask, is my sensitivity going to change when this update comes out? No, your sensitivity will not change, and that is via Total FPS on Reddit. He answered that question. Moving on to the general gameplay improvement section, in a huge change to doors. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually excited for a change to doors. Previously, the way doors worked was very annoying, and now doors that were previously controlled by the enemy team will now automatically open upon getting close to them, rather than having to hold the interact button. This is fantastic. It's just a nice quality of life thing. I was always annoyed by the way doors worked in this game. Another important change here is that soldiers will now become automatically spotted on the minimap for a short period of time after firing or throwing the following items: Smoke Grenade Launcher, SPH Explosive Launcher, Recoilless M5, Javelin, and FXM-33. I disagree with players being spotted for using the Smoke Grenade Launcher. I understand the reasoning, it's technically a grenade launcher, but it's not an offensive weapon. So why are you spotting people for smoking? I don't understand. And last in the section, but certainly not least, you can no longer make Boris's sentry gun surf on top of the EOD bot. Yes, you heard that correctly. Apparently, as of right now, you can actually make Boris's sentry gun ride on top of the EOD bot. So you guys have until April 25th to abuse that, and honestly, if you get any kills doing that, at me on Twitter, I would love to see the clip. Before we get into the weapons section, just want to remind people, if you're enjoying the video, hit the like button and of course subscribe to the channel. Turn notifications on so you don't miss an upload. In the weapons section, they fixed an issue that would occur with reloads when placing a gadget then entering and exiting a vehicle. This would apparently cause you to be unable to reload and you would die as a result, so thank God that's fixed. They also fixed an issue with the Super 500 not making any sound when you fired it, and it would also not spot you when you fired it. DICE also made some changes to weapon attachments in this update. The MTAR-21 suppressor no longer deals more damage than the default suppressors, which is only something that DICE can achieve, to be honest with you. And apparently the extended barrel on the PP29 had no downsides, but still gave you the upsides of it. So they have since patched that, and the proper downsides will be applied to the extended barrel. So unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, the long PP meta is over, which is devastating, I'm sure. F in the comment section. Moving on to the vehicle section, some much needed and overdue nerfs. They have increased damage of heavy projectiles towards transport vehicles, including the MPAT shell and tow missile. This means you should more easily be able to one-shot those pesky morons that are parking jeeps backwards on the sides of hills. On top of that, radar missiles now ignore targets that are below radar properly, and in some long overdue nerfs, but in my opinion, the wrong nerfs, the Super HIND takes 20% more damage from all projectiles, and the Condor takes 10% more damage from all projectiles. Why are these the wrong nerfs in my opinions? Well, for one, good pilots are still going to be able to essentially just be invincible, and number two, I already made a video detailing exactly how you're supposed to go about nerfing the entire transport vehicle category, and that simply involves removing the over-effective weapons from this category. I don't think that making them take more damage is the correct route, but it will still have some sort of effect on mediocre pilots. And last but certainly not least in the vehicles section, stealth helicopters that have been hit with a tracer dart can now be locked onto even if they are in stealth mode, and DICE has gone ahead and added cyber warfare protection to the Cav Brawler, which I can only assume means that you can no longer hack the Cav Brawler as RAW, which is kind of insane. So if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and of course subscribe to the channel. Check out the tournament. Follow me on Twitch, first link in the description. Would love to see some of you guys come through, and I'll see you guys later.
Watch out at the marker!